Hi, this is Cheryl with Movement Exploration. And so I'm looking at this question of when you do an art like Tai Chi and you find that you have knee pain when you're doing it, here's a movement exploration that you can work with to see if this shifts anything in terms of how you feel soreness in your knees, either during or after your training. And so, the first sort of idea I really want to look at is this sense of Tai Chi has a lot of, softly bent knee movements. And so it's easy to have that really load your body weight into your knees and to hurt sort of in the muscles right on top of the knees. So I want to bring a couple relationships into the foreground to give you something to work with, so you can see how you can, come into this movement. So if I just think about a typical commencement, right? You start to bend your hips, you fold your knees, you fold your ankles as you come up. And in with any of the forms, there's some sort of version of how these three joints work together. So I want you to, play a little bit with orienting from where your sit bones are, the direction they're pointing, and how that relates to your heels. And so I'm just going to bring a little model of the pelvis. And so if I, put this in front to sort of make more visible what's happening with the pelvis. So, starting commencement, my legs might start to bend, my knees start to bend, and my sit bones sink down. Now there's kind of almost infinite varieties of, do I sink my hips backward so my sit bones go well behind my heels? I could sink down and have them in front of my heels. So having a consciousness of, like, as if there was a cord from here to the back of your heel, how could the movement of my sit bones relate to this little bit of squatting, the soft squatting that brings us down and brings us up, so that we're orienting to the back part of our body rather than a kind of, if I put my attention up into my head, I'm leaning forward and now I'm loading into my knees to kind of hold my weight. But a couple little practice things to play with are sort of, exploring for yourself. So as you go downward, as if you're doing commencement, which leg loads more? So do you feel like if there's a right sit bone, right heel connection that's stronger? Maybe it's your left sit bone, left heel that's stronger. And so literally play with that a little bit, like exaggerate which one feels more familiar, as well as exploring, what direction do I want my sit bones to to track across space. And just that question will shift a little bit how you're using your hamstrings, your quads, all of your leg musculature gets reorganized by changing that trajectory just a little bit. And so a word of warning that could take you into using different parts of your hamstring, the outside, the inside, or the middle one, in ways that are unfamiliar. So be gentle with yourself. But the other little piece I want to just kind of name is, you definitely want to avoid, there's a balance project here, that as you sink, you may be tempted to tighten your feet, to tighten your toes. And so we definitely want those toes to splay out as you go down to cover more territory. And so one little piece I'll just kind of mention as a helpful exploration, if you find that you're kind of collapsing forward a little bit, that you keep balance because the top of your feet tighten or the front of your shins or your toes kind of have to grip and get involved, is to look at a really small, like this is the bone within your skin, bringing your heels, corkscrewing them a little bit together to create a little base and a little bit of uplift in your lower legs, so that as you go down, you have that really foundational support from your heels, so that your toes, the rest of your feet can just expand out as you go down. And so again, I call these movement explorations. You need to kind of find these things for yourself, play with them a little bit, but when you take them into, the kind of Tai Chi movement, you can start to dynamically track, where is my left sit bone going as I go forward? How is my right sit bone coming away? And you can start to, in the movement of things, track that for yourself. And it has this really lovely way then of organizing the movement of your limbs as you go through your Tai Chi form. So thanks for tuning in, and have a great movement day.